Luxembourg is a small European country, surrounded by Belgium, France and Germany. It is mostly rural, with dense Ardennes forest and nature parks in the north, rocky gorges of the Mullerthal region in the east, and the Moselle River Valley in the southeast. Its capital, Luxembourg City, is famed for its fortified medieval old town, perched on sheer cliffs. Facts: official name, Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, capital city, Luxembourg, state form, constitutional monarchy, land area, 2,574 square kilometers, total area, 2,590 square kilometers, number of inhabitants, 651,103. Official language, French, German, Luxembourgish. Religion, Catholic Christianity, National Day, June 23, Country Code, ISO, LU. Currency, Euros. National Song, Our Homeland, Vart Hemland. Luxembourg and neighboring countries. Luxembourg is a constitutional monarchy, Grand Duchy, in Western Europe. It is a small inland state that borders Belgium to the west and north, Germany to the east, and France to the south. There are two main regions, Osling in the north and Gutland in the south. The capital is Luxembourg. Luxembourg has 653,103 inhabitants. Both in terms of area and population, Luxembourg is one of the smallest nations in Europe. It is also the world's only Grand Duchy. According to Global Finance magazine, the country has a well-developed economy and has the world's highest gross domestic product, GDP, per capita, $143,743. Luxembourg is Europe's most important banking and financial center. Luxembourg, the name, is Etterborgen Luxembourg, which means small town Luxembourg. Luxembourg's national song is Ons Hemecht, our homeland. Theme, tax haven country in the world and EU.
Geography and environment. Luxembourg is 82 kilometers long north-south, and up to 57 kilometers wide east-west. In the north, the Osling Plateau landscape has low mountains and rivers, which are a continuation of the Belgian Ardennes mountain range. The highest point is Assen-Neef, which is 560 meters above sea level. The southern two-thirds of the land, Gutland, has ridges and plateaus with wide valleys and fertile soil. The area further east is hilly and forested. The Moselle Valley along the southern border is the lowest area. Luxembourg's eastern borders are formed by the three rivers, Moselle, Sauer, French Shore, and Our. The climate is West European continental. Winters are mild with an average temperature of 0 degrees Celsius in January, and summers are cool with an average temperature of 16 to 18 degrees Celsius in July. Rainfall is 750 to 1,000 millimeters a year. The northern part has a slightly cooler climate than the rest of the country. 42% of the country has arable land, while less than a quarter is covered by forests. In the north, there is a lot of oak and beech, and along the river banks, blackthorn and willow. There are many species of flower plants. There are 55 species of mammals, 9 species of reptiles, 16 species of amphibians, and 7 species of freshwater fish. There are nearly 300 species of birds. People and society. Luxembourg has 653,103 inhabitants. Settlements are densest around the capital, in industrial areas in the south, and in agricultural areas in Gutland. 92.1% of the population live in urban areas. Calculated by nationality, the three most important population groups, Luxembourgers 52.9%, Portuguese 14.5%, and French 7.6%. Expected life expectancy is 85.7 years for women and 80.2 years for men. Luxembourg is a secular state, but 70.6% are Catholic Christians. 2.3% of the inhabitants are Muslims. Protestant Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, and Jews together make up 0.4% of the population, while 26.7% of the inhabitants do not belong to any community.
State and society. Luxembourg is a hereditary constitutional monarchy, with the Grand Duke as head of state and a parliamentary democracy. In the National Assembly, the Chamber of Deputies, 60 representatives are elected in general elections for 5 years. Due to the obligation to vote, the turnout is high. Luxembourg is divided into 12 cantons and 106 municipalities. Military service is voluntary for women and men. The defense force consists of an army. In addition to the army, there is a gendarmerie of 600 men. Luxembourg speaks 3 languages, German and French, as well as the local Luxembourgish, which in 1984 became an official language alongside French and German. Luxembourg is a member of the UN, the World Trade Organization, the EU, NATO, the Council of Europe, the OECD, and the OSCE. The country is the seat for the European Court of Justice, the European Parliament Secretariat, but not the main seat, the European Investment Bank and several other EU institutions. Luxembourg has been involved in the Euro cooperation since its inception. History. The written history of the country begins in the Middle Ages and concerns the castle of Luxembourg around which it developed. In 1963, Luxembourg became an independent political entity with the county which included the current Luxembourg and the Belgian province of Luxembourg. In 1354 it became a duchy. From 1443, Luxembourg came under various European countries and kingdoms. In 1830, Luxembourg was divided, and the Walloon part was subject to Belgium. When Belgium broke away from the Netherlands in 1839, Luxembourg lost another half of its area, but remained independent. In 1867, Luxembourg's independence and neutrality were declared in the London Agreement. The country achieved full independence in 1890 when the Dutch King Wilhelm III died. Luxembourg was occupied by Germany in the periods 1914 to 1918 and 1940 to 1944. This led to the country abandoning the principle of neutrality in 1948 and becoming one of the founding nations of the UN, EU, and NATO. Luxembourg is one of the 3 members of the Benelux Union.
Economy and business. Luxembourg is an international center for banking and finance, which together with the iron and steel industry is the country's most important industry. Industries have become more differentiated in recent years, including the manufacture of chemicals, leather, textiles, cement and high-tech production. There are deposits of antimony, lead and copper, but modest extraction. The farm is based on small family-owned units that are operated mechanized and efficiently. Luxembourg is self-sufficient with some agricultural products. Important products are grain and red vegetables in the north, and fruit, grapes and wine as well as sugar beet in the south. Forestry plays a certain role. The great growth in service industries has compensated for a decline in the iron and steel industries. Beautiful nature and medieval townspeople draw many to the country. Luxembourg's exports amounted to $178 billion in 2021, while imports amounted to $148 billion. The country thus had a trade surplus of $30 billion. The most important trading partners are Germany, Belgium and France. The country's liberal tax and company legislation has led to the fact that hundreds of foreign companies have established nominal offices.
Knowledge and culture. It is compulsory and free schooling for children aged 6 to 15 years. Children's school age is 6 years. When the child is 12 years old, the choice must be made between continuing in a general secondary school or doing a technical and vocational education. The University of Luxembourg is the country's only university. According to Reporters Without Borders, respect for journalists in Luxembourg is among the highest in the 27 EU countries. 99% of the country's population has access to the Internet. Codex Mariendalensis is a manuscript from the early 1300s that was discovered in 1999. It is written in 5963 lines, about the prioress Yolanda of Vianden, 1231 to 1283, which was probably written by the monk Hermann von Veldens. Literature is written in 3 languages, German, French, and Luxembourgish. Lyrics have a prominent place and are internationally renowned with names such as Gregor Stein, pseudonym for Pierre Grégoire, 1907–1991, Anise Colts, 1928–2023, Jean Portanti, 1950, and Jean Cryer, 1949–2013. Important novelists after the Second World War are Guy Rewenig, 1947, and Roger Manderskied, 1933–2010. Folk music has its roots back to the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, church music was written at the Abbey in Echernow. Since 1999, the Orchestra Luxembourg Sinfonietta has also promoted contemporary music internationally. The national radio station Radio Luxembourg has listeners all over Europe. In the capital there is a thriving jazz milieu. The richest periods in Luxembourgish painting are represented by Impressionists and Expressionists in the early 1900s. Abstract art came into focus after the Second World War. Prominent names in contemporary art are painter Gust Graz, 1924–2020, sculptor Lucien Wercollier, 1908–2002, and video artist Sue Tse, 1973. In terms of architecture, the medieval castle in Vianden, a number of churches, and several bridges can be highlighted.